All right, it's another new day. It's Friday. I took off. My dad came over this morning and helped me kind of get this guy in place. It was kind of hard to hold everything all at once, especially with it being blocked up and chalked on the wheels. But we finally got it to where it's centered out and it's sitting where it should be. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and just weld these little support pieces just for now to hold everything kind of square while I make these new pieces. I think I'm going to take some of this stock here I got and just make a new piece that's going to angle down to this front cross member, and then I'll make a new angled piece from back here and just kind of box it in, try to make it look as good as I can. And once I get both the front sides knocked out, I'll come to the back and start making them. Also, the body's back on. I did get a video of all the hands that came over and helped me get this monstrosity back on here. It's freaking heavy. But everything seemed to work out too, as far as suspension holes and everything. I had to notch the floor or just cut out a square for it to go back down and around, because the body braces went right across. You can see one sitting there. I had to cut them body braces off. I actually would have cut them off beforehand. I wouldn't even have to touch the floorboards. That piece I welded on top of the frame's about a 1/4 inch away from it, but it all worked out pretty well. Body's sitting down on all the mounts. It's sitting where it is. Rear tire's up in the fender well the way I wanted it to be. So now it's just getting this guy kind of tacked in and getting it so I can pull these straps off of it and see where I'm at. So I'll get started making some templates. All right, so I'm a few hours into doing this front end, and I've been struggling a little bit, but I finally got somewhat of a game plan with running these rails down here. I decided to do a plate kind of like this on both sides, trying to run it back to tie it into the existing frame rail. I'm going to box on the inside on both of these. I'll have to fix that because that was where the old steering assembly and brakes and everything were. So it's got a little bubble on the frame that the other side doesn't. So I'll have to cut that off and weld in a new flat plate. Alright, another day on the Pontiac. Last night I stopped after I got this plate tacked in. This was kind of my idea for kind of tying in the old original frame to the new subframe box. I know I'm going to have plenty of clearance here for the A-arms. But I think my next plan is to come in here with that box plate and bring it out to here, or I'll bring it all the way over to this edge here, so it'll come down, match that angle, and then I'll cut off this bottom piece here and I'll make a whole new box panel that goes all the way from back here, so it'll weld in here all the way down across this edge, come out, match that angle, come up, and it'll all be kind of tacked in and boxed. As soon as I get that guy done, I'll move on to this other side and try to start matching everything back up, and then I'll work on welding. I got to pull the A-arms off to weld the underneath box, but I might just leave them all attached for now and get everything welded on top, and throw that course board or the whole front doghouse back on it, so I can see what I'm going to do with my wheel well openings. Yeah, we'll get started. So I think I got this about the way I want it. It looks a little big, but should be nice and strong. So I welded everything on the inside before I capped it all. I'm using 11 gauge. That's about as thick as the factory was. But I boxed it all in. I think I might make some square pieces, just kind of diamond, to go over all this, one here and one here. That'll just give me a little bit extra strength. But overall, turned out pretty good. Now the mirroring starts on this side. I'd like to get this side done tonight and be able to get the front end back on it. And I do believe I'll end up cutting this firewall off. It really bothers me that the straight 8 was off-centered. On the firewall, you can see here the crest of this is here, and the center line is roughly here. So it's off, and I'll end up doing like a line lock and clutch and brake booster, master cylinder. It's all going to be needed where all them holes are. So I'm gonna have to fill everything in. It's a shame because I kind of like the design. Dimple dies. I can try to do some bead rolling on it and see how close I can get it. But yeah, so I'm gonna continue on. All right, I do believe that's where I'm gonna stop for the day. I pretty much got everything welded on the sides, tops. I got some more stuff to do yet. I gotta pull the A-arms off, clean all this up in here so I can fully weld all the way around all that. And then I'm also gonna come in here and I cut these gussets off of them prior because there was about a 1/2 inch gap in between this frame rail. These were meant for a little bit wider frame rail. But I still have the original pieces over here. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them or I can just weld them on there. I'm not sure if I'm going to use these or build a different one. But if I can find all these, I probably just go ahead and use these. But yeah, not a bad day so far. It's a whole lot of welding. And I think I'm going to come in here and do a diamond plate box. And then another one back there on each side. And then I'll come in here and do one on the inside of each one here. And I do believe this should be strong enough. It's plenty thick, plenty bulky. Probably way too much, but I want it to be strong. I'll be putting probably like a 550 horse LS motor in this guy. So I want it to be nice and strong. And overkill is the way I like to do it anyways. Better be safe than sorry. But another day gone.